The SOS reached Deathworlders. They didn't send aid, they sent a fleet. The ship was battered, its hull scarred from the last raid, and the quiet hum of the engines felt louder than usual. The human colony she was assigned to protect had sent a call for help, one that had gone unanswered for too long. Ilara's gaze moved across the bridge. Officers hurriedly tapped at consoles, the glow of the screens reflecting in their tense faces. Her first officer, Lieutenant Camel Ree, leaned over a panel, muttering figures under his breath. "Commander," he said, not taking his eyes off the screen. "Our shields are holding, but just barely. The raiders' weapons were stronger than predicted. We've lost 2 of the supply modules and nearly half our cargo. If we face them again, we won't last long." Ilara nodded slowly. "Send the SOS to every channel we can reach," she ordered. "It doesn't matter if anyone hears us, we have to try. Humanity cannot afford to lose this colony." The crew obeyed immediately, sending a distress signal that screamed through the void. It was simple and desperate. Humans under attack, colony in danger, requesting urgent aid. Ilara knew the message might not reach anyone at all. For decades, humans had been struggling to find their place in the galaxy. Most species saw them as weak, inexperienced, or unworthy of alliance. She prayed silently that someone, anyone, would answer. Hours passed with only static returning to their receivers. The crew grew more anxious. Young communications officer Tessa Yalin pressed her fingers to the headset, straining to hear a faint signal. "Nothing yet," she said, her voice tight. "Commander, the raiders could come back at any moment." Ilara drew in a deep breath. "Then we prepare. Shields up, weapons ready, evacuation plans in place. If they come, we'll make sure they regret attacking humans." Despite her words, she felt the familiar weight of doubt pressing on her. The colony's population was small, most people untrained in combat. If the raiders returned, they would suffer. She hated feeling powerless in moments like this, but she had learned long ago that fear did not help. Action did. Then, unexpectedly, the silence broke. A signal flashed across the communications panel, a response to their SOS. It wasn't human. The symbol on the screen was unlike any they had seen, jagged and complex, almost alive in appearance. The crew leaned in, eyes wide. "It's not from any species we know," Tessa said, her voice trembling with awe. "It's massive, almost like a fleet is answering." Ilara frowned. "Read the message." Tessa hesitated, then pressed a sequence of buttons. The signal translated into clear words, though the meaning left the bridge in stunned silence. "Help received, aid not sent, fleet dispatched." The words hung in the air, aid not sent. What did that mean? Ilara's mind raced. The colony needed assistance, medical support, repairs, protection, but this message implied something entirely different. Lieutenant Ree's eyes widened. "Commander, a fleet, do they mean to fight?" Ilara's jaw tightened. "They're coming for the raiders, not for us." The crew absorbed the implication in silence. The legends of the Deathworlders had spread through human colonies for decades. Stories spoke of them as merciless survivors, warriors who thrived in worlds that would kill ordinary humans in a day. Few had ever seen them. Fewer had survived encounters, and now, according to the message, they were coming and not to be kind. Ilara paced the bridge. "We need to get a visual," she said. Tessa quickly adjusted the sensors, and moments later, the first images appeared on the main screen. From the darkness of space, colossal shapes emerged. The fleet was massive, its ships armored in dark metal that seemed almost organic. Sharp edges reflected distant starlight, and strange blue energy pulsed along the hulls. Even from far away, the ships radiated power. The human crew gasped. Lieutenant Ree's voice was low, almost a whisper. "They're enormous. Their firepower must be unimaginable." Ilara clenched her fists. "Yes, and yet, they're coming for the raiders, not us. That means we have a chance to survive. We need to make it count." The bridge was tense. For the first time, the humans were facing a force far greater than any they had imagined. And yet, for the first time, hope flickered in their hearts. Perhaps survival wasn't impossible. Perhaps the Deathworlders would change the outcome of this fight. Hours passed as the Aurora adjusted its trajectory. Sensors tracked the Deathworlder fleet as it moved at impossible speeds, closing the distance to the human colony. The sheer size of the vessels made the crew feel small, insignificant. But Ilara refused to let fear rule her mind. She turned to the tactical officer, Captain Leora Vainik. "How long until the raiders notice them?" "Not long," Vainik replied, tapping at the console. "The raiders' scanners will pick up these ships in under an hour. They won't know what hit them." Ilara nodded. Then we use this time wisely. Alert the colony, reinforce defensive positions, evacuate civilians to safe zones. When the Deathworlders arrive, we need to be ready to cooperate, but cautiously. The crew moved with newfound energy. Messages were sent to colony leaders, warnings distributed, and evacuation procedures rehearsed. Despite the fear in their hearts, there was a strange excitement in the air, a thrill of witnessing something legendary. Humans had faced impossible odds before, but never on this scale. As the Aurora glided through the void, Ilara found herself standing alone near the observation deck. She stared at the approaching fleet, unable to look away. They were silent, massive, beautiful, terrifying. And they were coming for the raiders. She whispered under her breath, more to herself than anyone else. If they can defeat the raiders, maybe we can survive this. Below her, the colony braced for an encounter that could destroy everything, or save everything. The human settlers watched the sky in wonder, fear, and hope. They had sent a call for help, and the universe had answered, not with mercy, not with gentle aid, but with power unlike anything they had ever seen. Ilara returned to the bridge, her eyes meeting her crew. "Stay focused," she said. "We're not safe yet, but we're not helpless. Today we survive. Tomorrow we learn from them." The Aurora continued its slow glide toward the colony. Outside, the stars stretched into long streaks of light, marking the approach of the Deathworlder fleet. Humanity's place in the galaxy was changing, and no one on the bridge or anywhere in the colony could guess how profound that change would be. Minutes turned into hours as the fleet drew closer. The human crew worked tirelessly, making every repair they could, reinforcing shields and preparing the colony's defenses. Tension and excitement coiled together in every heart. They had faced the unknown before, but nothing like this. Finally, when the fleet appeared fully in the system, the enormity of it became clear. Dozens of massive warships floated above the colony, casting shadows that turned day into an eerie twilight. Every ship bristled with weapons, every surface pulsed with blue energy. Ilara's breath caught. "This is real," she said quietly. "We're not imagining it. They're here." Camel re-looked at her. "They're beautiful in a terrifying way." Ilara nodded, trying to calm the storm of emotions inside her. "Yes, and they're here for the raiders." Humanity might just get a chance to survive. The first part of the battle was already over. The SOS had been answered. But the true test, how humans would react when these legendary warriors fought in their skies, was about to begin. The human colony stirred with tension. From the observation towers and the bridge of the Aurora, settlers and soldiers alike watched the shadows that loomed across the sky. The Deathworlder fleet had arrived, and its presence was unlike anything humans had ever seen. Ships as large as mountains floated silently in orbit, their hulls glinting in starlight, engines glowing with eerie blue energy. Commander Ilara Dane stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the largest ship of the fleet. It was terrifyingly massive, bristling with weapon arrays and sensors that scanned the system like a predator measuring its prey. Yet, despite its fearsome appearance, it had not fired a single shot at the colony or the Aurora. "They're not attacking us," said Lieutenant Camel Ree, his voice a mixture of awe and disbelief. Why haven't they fired?" Ilara didn't answer immediately. She had spent years studying alien species, learning their patterns, and even she could not predict the behavior of the Deathworlders. Legends spoke of their survival instincts, their merciless efficiency, and their skill in war. If they attacked, no human could withstand them. Yet here they were, hovering, waiting. "They're watching the raiders," she said finally. "Everything about these ships, it's designed for war, but their war is not against us." Below in the colony, settlers gathered in small groups, whispering in fear and amazement. Children peeked through reinforced windows, and farmers clutched tools like weapons, unsure if they should run or hide. The raiders who had attacked just days earlier had fled, but they were likely regrouping somewhere. The colony had been too weak to defend itself, and humans had been counting on outside help. Now it had arrived, in a form no one expected. On the bridge of the Aurora, Tessa Yalin, the communications officer, received a faint signal from the Deathworlder fleet. The symbols were strange, pulsing as if alive, and she hesitated before translating. "We approach. Do not interfere. Wait. Watch. Survive if you can." The words sent a chill through the room. They were not exactly instructions, nor were they reassurance. They were more like a warning. The Deathworlders were powerful, and humans were small in comparison. Yet the message also carried a promise. The raiders would face them first. Captain Leora Vanek, the tactical officer, studied the sensors. "Their ships are moving in patterns designed for combat," she said. "Not random movement. They are surrounding the system, likely trying to trap the raiders, but if we move carefully, we can stay safe." Alara nodded. "Agreed, keep our shields at maximum. Our weapons are secondary. This is not our fight. We observe, protect the colony, and survive. That is our priority." Hours passed, and the tension grew. Every flicker on the sensors, every signal from the raiders made the crew jump. Then, finally, the first contact occurred. A raider ship appeared at the edge of the system, scanning for signs of the colony. It was sleek and fast, designed for attack, with weapons that could have destroyed the human settlement in minutes. But the Deathworlders were ready. Ships from the fleet moved with terrifying precision, encircling the raider without firing a single shot. They were predators, and the raider was unaware it had walked into a trap. "They're hurting them," Lieutenant Ree whispered. "Like hunting animals." Alara's heart pounded. The humans had never seen combat on this scale. The raiders suddenly realized something was wrong. Their scanners picked up the fleet surrounding them. Panic erupted in their ranks. They fired blindly, desperate to escape. But the Deathworlder ships responded with efficiency and speed. Beams of energy cut through space, disabling engines and weapons systems without killing the crew. The raiders were immobilized. On the Aurora, the humans watched in stunned silence. The Deathworlders were not cruel, they were precise. Their actions were meant to stop the raiders, not to destroy life unnecessarily. Yet the spectacle was terrifying. Humans had never fought at this level, and the scale of destruction, even when measured, was overwhelming. Tessa spoke quietly. They're controlling the battle, not just fighting, controlling it." Alara nodded. "That is their way. They survive by understanding the battlefield better than anyone else. Humans will need to learn that someday if we hope to survive the galaxy." Meanwhile, on the colony, families clutched each other as the sky lit up with the blue glow of energy beams. There was no fire raining down, no explosions on the ground, just the hum of alien engines, the flash of power in orbit, and the knowledge that something enormous and incomprehensible had taken responsibility for their survival. The first raider ship was disabled. Another tried to flee, banking sharply, but the Deathworlders anticipated its move. Another beam struck its engines, stopping it mid-flight. The fleet moved with synchronized efficiency, every ship knowing the actions of the others. Alara studied the pattern, realizing something remarkable. "They're not just strong," she said slowly. "They're smart, tactical genius. Every move is calculated. If humans could learn even a fraction of this, we would be unstoppable." Ree shivered. "They're not like anything we've faced, and we're watching, lucky to survive." Hours stretched into tension-filled cycles. The raiders tried every trick, every evasive maneuver, but the Deathworlders adapted instantly. The humans watched and learned, noting every strategy, every method of combat. Even without participating, they were absorbing knowledge that could change humanity's approach to war forever. Then, a moment of terror arrived. A large raider ship broke free from the fleet's control. Its weapons targeted the colony, and alarms blared across the system. Panic swept through the settlement. Children cried and farmers scrambled for shelters. Alara grabbed the intercom. "Everyone remain calm, do not panic. The fleet is watching. Trust them. Stay in safe zones." The raider fired. Energy beams streaked toward the colony, but before they could hit, a Deathworlder ship moved with blinding speed. A single, perfectly aimed shot disabled the raider's weapons. It tumbled through space, powerless, and the colony was safe. The humans on the bridge exhaled collectively. Tessa whispered, "They're saving us even though we didn't ask for this." Alara's eyes narrowed. "Not saving us. They are protecting their prey, the raiders. We are collateral, but it works in our favor. This is humanity's chance to survive while observing a power beyond imagination." The fleet continued its operation with relentless precision. One by one, raider ships were neutralized. Some were captured, others destroyed strategically to prevent escape. The humans could hardly believe what they were witnessing. A civilization feared across the galaxy had arrived, not to conquer, not to kill humans, but to eliminate the threat around them with exacting efficiency. By evening, the immediate threat from the raiders was gone. The colony remained intact, the Aurora largely unharmed, and the Deathworlders held orbit like silent, watchful giants. The settlers emerged from their shelters, eyes wide, whispers of awe filling the air. Ilara looked at the bridge crew. This is what power looks like. And it is not mercy. It is precision, calculation, and the will to survive. Remember this. Learn from it. The Deathworlder fleet did not linger indefinitely. As suddenly as they had arrived, they began to move away, leaving the humans with a mix of relief and disbelief. Their ships receded into the stars, leaving the colony intact but forever changed. The settlers had witnessed the impossible, and humanity had glimpsed a force that could challenge even the most dangerous threats in the galaxy. On the Aurora, Ilara took a deep breath. "We survived," she said softly. "But more importantly, we saw what humanity could become if we dare to reach that level of strength, skill, and determination." The humans had survived, yes. But in their survival, they had learned something even more valuable. The universe was not a safe place, but it could be understood, outsmarted, and, if they were clever, mastered. And somewhere in the depths of space, the Deathworlders moved onward, leaving humans with a lesson written not in words, but in action. Strength, intelligence, and survival were the truest forms of mercy. The first battle in this new chapter of human history had ended. But the story of humans learning to stand, to fight, and to survive alongside the deadliest forces in the galaxy, was only just beginning. The day after the Deathworlder fleet had moved away, the human colony was buzzing with a mix of relief, awe, and determination. Families emerged from shelters, checking their homes and fields. Soldiers inspected damaged structures and repaired weapons, while scientists and engineers gathered to study the data from the Aurora's sensors. Commander Ilara Dane walked through the command center, her eyes scanning rows of crew members working tirelessly. The humans had survived a force beyond comprehension. The Deathworlders had arrived, fought the raiders, and left, showing humans a power they could barely understand. Yet, Ilara knew that survival wasn't enough. Humans needed to adapt and learn, or they would remain prey to stronger civilizations. "We have data from the fleet," said Lieutenant Camel Ree, stepping up beside her. "The Deathworlders' attack patterns, their energy distribution, weapon timing, everything was precise. We can't fight like them, but we can study it. We can prepare." Ilara nodded. "Good. Start analyzing everything. Every strike, every movement, every decision. Humanity may not be able to match them today, but we can learn. Knowledge is the first step to survival." Meanwhile, in the colony, scientists scoured the fields, collecting fragments of raider ships that had fallen during the battle. Among the pieces were weapons, engines, and strange devices the humans had never seen. Dr. Myra Solis, the colony's lead engineer, examined the wreckage carefully. "These engines," she said, pointing at a sleek metallic core, "they're unlike anything humans have built. If we can reverse engineer even a small portion, it could improve our ships' speed and efficiency. We could defend ourselves better next time." Ilara watched, silently impressed by the determination of her people. Humans had always been resilient, but now, under pressure, they were learning to turn fear into action. On the bridge of the Aurora, Tessa Yalin worked on decoding the Deathworlder signal patterns. "Commander," she said, pointing at the console, "their communication is strange but predictable. They follow strict rules in battle, patterns that repeat. If we can understand them, we might anticipate other species' attacks in the future." Ilara leaned over the console. "Exactly. Humans survived this battle because we observed carefully. Now we take that observation and turn it into strategy." Over the next few days, the colony transformed. Barricades were reinforced, sensors were improved, and evacuation drills became more organized. Soldiers trained relentlessly, not just in weapons but in tactics. Engineers developed new systems inspired by the Deathworlder ships, improving the colony's shields and energy grids. Civilians helped in any way they could, building defenses, preparing supplies, and learning how to survive in a dangerous galaxy. Even the children were included. In small ways, they were taught to respond to alarms, understand basic safety measures, and help their families in times of crisis. The adults knew that one day, these children would be the future defenders of humanity. Ilara stood in the training hall, watching soldiers practice maneuvers she had observed from the Deathworlder fleet. "Faster," she instructed. "Stronger, think ahead, anticipate the enemy's next move. Humans can survive through courage and cleverness, not just strength." Captain Leora Vanek, tactical officer, approached her. "Commander, I've been running simulations based on what we observed. Humans adapt quickly." I think we could teach our fleet to respond to threats like the Deathworlders did, using precision and speed without needing a fleet of the same size. Alara smiled faintly. That is the point. Humans have always survived by thinking, not just by fighting. We can't match every species in strength, but we can outthink them. In the fields outside the colony, engineers began experimenting with scavenged raider weapons, modifying them with human technology. It was a slow process, filled with trial and error, but progress was visible every day. Missiles became more accurate, shields stronger, and communication devices more reliable. The first major test came when a small group of raiders attempted a stealth attack, hoping to reclaim territory they had lost. The humans were ready. Sensors detected the ships early, defenses activated, and soldiers executed maneuvers they had practiced tirelessly. The raiders were caught off guard. The humans did not destroy them immediately, but disabled their engines and trapped them. Commander Alara watched the operation with satisfaction. Her people had applied what they had learned from observing the Deathworlders, adapting strategies to human strengths. They had survived, and now they had a chance to take control of their own destiny. Alara knew that the lesson from the Deathworlders went beyond combat. It was about confidence, observation, and learning quickly. Humans had always been curious, clever, and resourceful, traits that made them unpredictable to other species. In this, humanity had an advantage. One evening, as the sun set over the colony, Alara and her officers gathered on the observation deck. The sky was peaceful, stars twinkling, and the shadows of the Deathworlder fleet were gone. But the memory of their presence remained vivid. "Commander," Lieutenant Rhee said, breaking the silence, "we've recorded every movement of their fleet, every pattern, every strategy. Humanity has never seen anything like this, but we can adapt. We can survive. We can even become strong enough to stand alongside them one day." Alara nodded. "That is the lesson. Strength alone will not save us, but courage, intelligence, and adaptability will. Humans have always been underestimated. Perhaps now we are beginning to show the galaxy that we are more than they think." The colony had changed. People worked together in ways they had never done before. Farmers, engineers, soldiers, and scientists collaborated, sharing knowledge and skills. Every challenge became a lesson. Every failure was analyzed, corrected, and used as preparation for the next obstacle. Humans were learning to fight smarter, not just harder. Even in their small ships, the humans began practicing new tactics. The Aurora and several smaller vessels ran exercises, simulating encounters with raiders and other threats. The crew tested strategies inspired by the Deathworlders, rapid maneuvers, coordinated strikes, and controlled retreats. During one exercise, Tessa Yalin piloted a small craft while two other ships executed a flanking maneuver. Alara observed silently. The ships moved with precision, not perfect yet, but far beyond what humans had been capable of before. "Excellent," she said finally. "This is what survival looks like. We take what we observe, what we experience, and we adapt. That is the human way." In the colony's science labs, Dr. Myra Solis discovered a method to integrate scavenged raider technology with human systems. Shields could absorb energy more efficiently, engines could move faster, and communications could bypass interference. Small steps, but each one brought humanity closer to standing on equal footing with more advanced species. Alara walked through the labs and training grounds, observing her people. She felt pride not just as a commander, but as a member of a species that had endured so much, only to rise again stronger than before. Humans had survived countless threats, disease, harsh environments, and hostile species, and now they were learning to survive and thrive in a galaxy that often underestimated them. Then an unexpected signal arrived. It was faint but unmistakable. Another Deathworlder fleet, smaller, more tactical, almost like a scouting team, was approaching the system. This time the humans were ready. Sensors tracked the incoming ships. Soldiers took positions. Engineers monitored energy levels. The colony stood alert. Alara gathered her officers. "We survived the first encounter by watching and learning. Now we must be ready to show the galaxy that humans can stand alongside even the deadliest species. Observe carefully, act smartly, and be ready for anything." As the new fleet arrived, the humans held their ground. The Deathworlders did not attack. Instead, they monitored, much like before, letting humans see how battles were planned and executed. The humans took careful notes, adjusted strategies, and practiced coordinated maneuvers. By the end of the day, Alara stood on the observation deck once more, looking at the departing Deathworlder fleet. She felt a surge of hope. Humanity was small, yes, but clever, brave, and adaptable. With every lesson, every observation, they were growing stronger. "Commander," Lieutenant Rhee said beside her, "we're learning faster than I imagined. Humanity, we might just be ready for the next challenge." Alara smiled. "Yes, but never forget, survival is not enough. We adapt, we improve, we fight smarter. And one day, the galaxy will see that humans are not to be underestimated." The sun set behind the colony, casting long shadows over fields, buildings, and training grounds. In that golden light, humans worked, trained, and learned, knowing that each day brought them closer to becoming a force that could survive and thrive among the stars. And in that moment, humanity understood something profound. Survival alone was not their destiny. Adaptation, courage, and intelligence were. And with those, the humans would face the future unbowed and unbroken. The morning sun cast a pale light over the colony, and with it came a tense, electric anticipation. The humans had spent days preparing, training, and studying. The raiders, emboldened by their previous attacks, were returning with a larger force. This time, they were determined to reclaim what they had lost. But the humans were no longer helpless, and the Deathworlder fleet had not entirely left. Several massive ships lingered at the edge of the system, silent and watchful, ready to intervene if the humans faltered. Commander Alara Dane stood on the bridge of the Aurora, her hands resting lightly on the console, though her mind raced with strategies. "Sensors indicate raider ships entering the system," she said. Her voice was calm but firm. "They've increased in number and firepower. Everyone remember your training. Protect the colony. Observe, adapt, and act with precision." Lieutenant Camel Rhee's fingers flew across the controls. "Commander, they're splitting into two groups. One is heading straight for the colony, and the other is flanking us from the outer edge. We can't take them all head-on." Alara nodded. "We won't have to. Focus on defense and guiding their movement. Use our knowledge from observing the Deathworlders. We are not just hiding, we are preparing to fight smart." On the surface of the colony, soldiers took positions along barricades, while engineers activated reinforced shields and energy fields. Civilians moved to designated safe zones, calm but alert. Even the youngest had learned to respond to alarms and follow protocols. This was humanity at its finest, disciplined, resourceful, and united. The first raider group opened fire. Energy beams streaked through space, lighting up the colony's sky. The humans responded quickly. Shields flared and automated defenses activated. The colony shook from distant blasts, but no lives were lost. Soldiers executed maneuvers they had practiced countless times, moving efficiently from cover to cover, coordinating with pilots in the Aurora. From orbit, the Deathworlder fleet observed quietly. Their massive ships moved like predators circling prey, but they did not engage immediately. Instead, they waited, giving the humans a chance to apply what they had learned. Alara felt a mixture of fear and determination. "Now," she said softly, "show the universe what humanity can do." Lieutenant Rhee sent orders to small human ships. They weaved between debris and asteroids, using the environment to avoid the raiders' fire. Missiles launched from human vessels disabled engines and weapons on several raider ships. It was not a full-scale attack, but a controlled engagement, designed to maximize efficiency and minimize risk. Exactly the approach the Deathworlders had taught them without words. The raiders faltered. They had expected humans to panic, to hide, or to flee. Instead, they faced a coordinated defense that exploited every weakness in their formations. Commander Alara saw an opening. "Flank the right side," she ordered. "Use the smaller ships to draw them toward the colony's defenses. Timing is everything." The plan worked. The raiders pursued the human ships, unaware that they were being led into a trap. Automated turrets, reinforced shields, and clever use of terrain turned the ambush into a stunning success. Raider ships were disabled one by one, their pilots forced to eject into space. The humans felt a surge of pride. They had taken the lessons of observation and adaptation and turned them into action. They were not just surviving, they were fighting like legends. Suddenly, the second group of raiders attempted to cut off the humans' retreat. Energy beams streaked across space, aiming to destroy the colony's outer defenses. Alarms blared. Civilians and soldiers braced for impact. Then a massive Deathworlder ship moved into position. A single beam of concentrated energy struck the raiders, disabling several of their ships instantly. The humans watched in awe. The Deathworlders were intervening with precision, not indiscriminate destruction. The balance had shifted, and humanity's survival now relied on their courage, cleverness, and coordination with these legendary warriors. Alara gave orders quickly. Push forward, target their engines, disable, don't destroy, use everything we've learned, stay calm, focused. Precise, the humans moved like a single organism, executing maneuvers that blended speed, strategy, and courage. Missile volleys from human ships paired with concentrated energy blasts from the Deathworlders created a perfect storm. The raiders were trapped, overwhelmed by a force they could not outthink or outrun. In the midst of the chaos, Tessa Yalin piloted a small reconnaissance ship, darting between larger vessels to relay information to the fleet. "Commander," she shouted over the comms, "their formation is collapsing. Target their command ship, disable it, and they'll fall apart." Alara nodded. "Do it, now." With coordinated precision, human ships surrounded the raiders' command vessel. Missiles and concentrated fire from smaller ships struck the engines and weapon systems. The command ship shuddered, sparks flying across its hull, then went silent. Without their leader, the raiders faltered. Confusion spread through their ranks, and one by one their ships were disabled. From the bridge of the Aurora, Alara felt a surge of triumph. "We did it," she said quietly, almost in disbelief. "Humanity, we did it." The battle was not over, but the humans had proven themselves. They had survived a coordinated attack, applied lessons learned from the Deathworlders, and executed strategies that no ordinary species could have achieved on their own. On the ground, settlers emerged from shelters, cheering as automated defenses neutralized the last raider drones. Soldiers exchanged smiles, a mixture of relief and pride shining in their eyes. Humans had not only survived, they had fought with skill and intelligence, turning the tide of battle in their favor. The Deathworlders observed silently. Though their faces were unreadable through sensors and communications, humans could sense approval. They had fought bravely, adapted quickly, and demonstrated courage and strategy, the qualities the Deathworlders valued above all else. Alara allowed herself a rare moment of reflection. "They're teaching us more than survival," she whispered. "They're showing us what it means to be a true warrior, to fight with brains as well as courage." As the last raider ships were neutralized, the Deathworlder fleet began to move away. The humans had won the battle, but the lesson remained clear. Survival depended on learning, adapting, and thinking ahead. The Deathworlders had intervened not to save them, but to show them the path to true strength. In the aftermath, the humans began repairing their ships, tending to minor damages and celebrating quietly. Commander Alara walked through the training grounds, watching soldiers practice maneuvers they had perfected during the battle. Engineers tested newly repaired weapon systems, while scientists continued to analyze the data they had gathered. "This is only the beginning," she said to Captain Vanek. "We've survived one attack, learned from it, and improved. But the galaxy is vast, and there are other threats out there. We must continue to adapt, to train, to grow. Humanity cannot rely on luck alone. We must be ready for whatever comes next." Captain Vanek nodded. "We've learned a lot. Today, humans fought like no one expected. Tomorrow will be even stronger." Alara allowed herself a small smile. Humanity had faced impossible odds and survived. They had observed, adapted, and executed strategies that were once only the domain of legends. And now, standing shoulder to shoulder with the presence of the Deathworlders, they had proven their worth and potential. The sun set over the colony, casting long shadows across the fields, walls, and training grounds. The humans worked tirelessly, their resolve stronger than ever. They had survived a battle that could have destroyed them. They had learned from the most dangerous species in the galaxy. And most importantly, they had discovered the true power of human courage, intelligence, and adaptability. Commander Alara Dane looked out over the colony one last time before returning to the Aurora. "Humanity is not just surviving," she said softly. "We are learning to thrive. And one day the galaxy will see what we are capable of." The battle had ended, but humanity's journey had only just begun. They had adapted, grown stronger, and learned the first lessons of true survival among the stars. The galaxy was vast, filled with threats and wonders alike. But humans had proven they could face it, not just with courage, but with brains, teamwork, and the will to endure. And somewhere far beyond the stars, the Deathworlders moved silently, knowing they had left a mark on humanity, a lesson that would echo across generations. The humans had survived, and in doing so, had begun a path that would one day make them more than just survivors. They were becoming legends in their own right. The colony was quiet in the early morning, the first light of the sun casting soft rays across fields, buildings, and training grounds. But the quiet was different now. It was not fear, but pride. The humans had survived the raiders. They had witnessed the Deathworlders in action and learned from them. They had adapted, fought strategically, and emerged stronger than ever before. Humanity had changed, and the galaxy would notice. Commander Alara Dane walked through the colony, her boots clicking softly against the reinforced floor. Soldiers were repairing the last damaged defenses. Engineers worked on refining technology scavenged from the raiders, and scientists recorded every detail from the previous battles. Even civilians moved with purpose, helping where they could, learning to participate in survival and strategy. Humans were no longer passive observers of the galaxy. They were beginning to stand as equals among the stars. Lieutenant Camel Ree approached her, holding a data pad. "Commander, we've compiled all the data from the raider attacks and our observation of the Deathworlders. The patterns are clear, and humans now have the skills to defend against threats we could never face before." Alara nodded. "Good. Make sure every officer and soldier studies it. This knowledge is more valuable than any weapon. If we forget these lessons, we risk losing everything we fought for." Across the colony, children watched soldiers practicing tactical drills, wide-eyed with excitement and curiosity. Some of them had already begun learning basic piloting and defensive strategies. The adults had been tested and trained, but the next generation would carry humanity even further. In the training yard, Captain Leora Vanek oversaw simulations using the colony's small fleet. Pilots executed complex maneuvers, coordinating with ground-based defenses and sensors to trap simulated raider ships. Missiles were deployed with precision, energy shields activated at perfect timing, and communication was flawless. Alara observed quietly. "Humans are learning faster than I imagined," she said. "We are not just surviving, we are becoming a force to be respected." While the colony prepared for future challenges, another signal arrived from deep space. It was faint at first, then strengthened as it approached. The humans watched on sensors as a new fleet appeared. This one was different from the Deathworlders' previous visit. It was smaller but highly advanced, with sleek ships moving in perfect coordination. Tessa Yalin translated the incoming signal. "Commander, it's not aggressive. They are requesting communication. The fleet wants to meet us." Alara felt a thrill of anticipation. After everything, humans were being recognized. Perhaps the galaxy had finally noticed that they were no longer weak or insignificant. "Prepare the reception," she said, "and ensure our message is clear. Humanity has survived. Humanity is capable. Humanity is ready to stand among the stars." The new fleet entered orbit carefully, observing the colony without hostility. Small ships landed on nearby platforms, and representatives of the alien species approached in neutral, transparent vehicles. The humans prepared to meet them. Soldiers held positions, but there was no fear, only confidence. Humanity had proven itself capable. Commander Alara met the alien leaders personally. They were tall, with shimmering skin and eyes that glowed faintly in the dim sunlight. Despite their unfamiliar appearance, they radiated calm authority. "You have survived," the lead alien said, voice clear but gentle. "Your species has shown courage, intelligence, and adaptability. Few have done so when faced with the threats you encountered. The galaxy is changing, and you are no longer a species to ignore." Alara nodded. "We are learning, and we are ready. Humanity is not weak. We will defend ourselves and those who cannot defend themselves. We will stand, and we will fight if necessary, but we will also grow, learn, and adapt." The alien leader studied her for a long moment. "Your words reflect understanding beyond your years. Your people have witnessed the Deathworlders, learned from them, and applied those lessons wisely. You may yet become an important part of galactic alliances, not as servants or subjects, but as partners." Alara felt a surge of pride. This was what humanity had fought for, not just survival, but recognition. "We will not forget the lessons we have learned. We will continue to improve, and we will honor the courage and guidance of those who helped us survive. As the alien representatives departed, humans returned to their daily routines, but everything felt different. There was confidence in their movements, pride in their work, and a sense of purpose that had been absent before. The colony was no longer merely a settlement. It was a beacon of human ingenuity and resilience. In the command center, Alara gathered her officers. Today, we have not only survived but demonstrated what humanity can do. We have learned from observation, adapted with intelligence, and fought with courage. That is our greatest weapon, remember this. Humanity is not weak, humanity is capable, and humanity will be respected. Lieutenant Reese spoke up. Commander, with our new knowledge and technology, we could prepare the Aurora and the colony for almost any threat in this sector. We're ready to face challenges the galaxy might throw at us. Alara nodded. Yes, but readiness is not enough. We must continue to grow, to teach the next generation, and to explore. Humanity's journey has only begun. Today we survived. Tomorrow we will thrive. And one day the galaxy will recognize humanity not just for its courage, but for its intelligence, adaptability, and will to endure. Across the colony, engineers continued refining ship designs inspired by both Raider and Deathworlder technology. Soldiers practiced advanced tactics, combining human ingenuity with strategies learned from observation. Children played with training drones, learning coordination and timing that would serve them in years to come. The entire colony hummed with energy, a living testament to humanity's resilience and growth. Commander Alara took a moment to step outside the colony, looking at the stars. The sky stretched endlessly, filled with countless possibilities. Humanity had survived its first great test, but the universe was vast and countless challenges remained. Yet for the first time, she felt that humans were ready. We are not alone, she whispered to herself. We are learning, we are growing, we are becoming something more. The galaxy will know humanity, and it will respect us. The humans had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious. They had adapted and learned from one of the most formidable species in the galaxy. The Deathworlders had shown them the path, but it was humanity's courage, ingenuity, and teamwork that had allowed them to survive and thrive. In the weeks that followed, the colony rebuilt stronger than ever. Trade routes were opened with friendly species, allies began to take notice, and humans developed new strategies to defend themselves. Commander Alara and her officers trained tirelessly, teaching others what they had learned, ensuring that every member of the colony understood the importance of observation, adaptation, and courage. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the colony, Alara stood with her officers looking at the sky. The stars seemed brighter, more alive than ever. Humanity had survived its first great test, but it was clear that this was only the beginning. Captain Vanek turned to her. Commander, we've proven ourselves. The colony is stronger, our people are trained, and our knowledge is growing every day. Humanity is ready for the next challenge. Alara smiled, a mixture of pride and determination in her eyes. Yes, and when the next challenge comes, we will face it together. We will survive, adapt, and rise. Humanity is no longer the species to be underestimated. We are ready to make our mark on the galaxy. As night fell, the colony glowed softly, a beacon of human resilience and ingenuity. The humans had survived the Raiders, learned from the Deathworlders, and grown stronger than they had ever imagined. They had earned a reputation, not through fear or aggression, but through courage, intelligence, and teamwork. And somewhere in the stars, other civilizations would soon learn that humanity was not just another species to ignore. They were a force to be reckoned with, capable of surviving the impossible, learning from the greatest, and rising to meet any challenge. Commander Alara Dane stood on the observation deck one last time, looking at the stars. The galaxy will see us, she said softly. And it will know that humans are brave, clever, and unyielding. Today we survive, tomorrow we thrive, and one day humanity will shine among the stars. The journey of humanity had only just begun. They had learned to survive, to adapt, and to fight. But more importantly, they had learned that they were capable of greatness. With courage, intelligence, and unity, humans would face the galaxy boldly, earning the respect and admiration of civilizations far beyond their own. Humanity had survived. Humanity had learned. And humanity's story was just beginning.